I'm Lola.
And I'm Mamuna. Together, we have a combined 35 years of experience within the tech scene in North America and Europe.
We talk about the highs, the lows, the WTFs of navigating the technology industry and answer your questions about navigating tech careers.
This is Lost in Tech. Random song right now, like the Flight of the Bumblebee right now going in my head, and I don't know why.
I'm like, Flight of the Bumblebee is in the kids' song?
Yeah.
Tell me you're a parent without telling me you're a parent.
I know.
There are people here now, Mamuna. There are people here. Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to another short episode. We hope you're enjoying these. We're enjoying creating them. And fun. If you are enjoying them, please share, like, and subscribe on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, whatever your poison. Just be sure to tell us that you are engaging and make sure you get that notification next time we pop out some extra content. So after the last few episodes, we're going to go back to our base on this one. Mamina, we're going to go back to the stuff we know 100% and we are experienced in, which is building software and tech.
Yeah.
And the question I have for you is thus. So we've talked a lot about the last few years of insane layoffs, our slow but ultimate full adoption of AI as an augmentation of our tooling, and companies that let everyone off because the AI can do the job, and then companies that say, hey, you're going to lose creativity and innovation because if it's only AI, nothing new shows up in the company, and everything in between. And I guess what my question for you is, given where we are in the cycle, how would you describe what a tech person's profile is today? So whether you're in product design or engineering, what does it look like to be a employable, retainable tech person at this point in history? Go.
Yeah.
Fix this.
Okay. Fix us. All right. So I don't think if it's a hot take, but my perspective is that where we are today and where we're going, I would start with product management. I would say it's no longer a silo discipline. So I would say the most impactful PMs are increasingly operating at this intersection of product design, engineering. Maybe they're dabbling into data or other areas. And I think this evolution, this change reflects sort of the shifting expectations of organizations, whether it be from startups to enterprise, where they're looking for velocity, technical understanding, user empathy, those being all non-negotiables. And so I think you're going to see this builder profile sort of arise where it's less of just I'm a product manager, but it's I enjoy building products. And what that means for me is that I flex into the design. I think about the usability, the flows, but I also am strong at writing requirements. There's no one, this is my single area. And I think to be successful as a person entering the tech space today, you're looking less at I'm a product manager, I'm a designer, but more so these horizontal skill sets that can cross, I'm a designer, but really I know front end code. I know how to do visual design, but I also can write out clean requirements. I can do all the testing. You are now horizontal versus these vertical sort of subsets of, I think, where we used to be. What do you think?
I mean, I think you started me off on the exact point. I think everybody's now a product person. Everyone is now a product manager. And the tooling that's emerging is actually the thing that's precipitating this change. In that, Figma released a feature where you can basically vibe design. So you can use plain language prompts to build high fidelity UI, which means if you're a product manager and you want to comp out something, you could probably produce a fairly good looking design on your own. And I know a lot of my UX and design folks freaked the hell out, but we've also had Replit for the last couple of years, although Replit had an interesting week. where even someone like me who, yes, I studied computer science and I did,
Mm-hmm.
various coding things, but I don't consider myself a coder. But I can play with mocking up simple applications without having to know anything about writing code. And maybe more
Yeah.
critically, without having to know anything about production environments in which code gets deployed, right? So Replit takes away
Mm.
some of the like manual tasks of like the thing needs to do X and there's got to be all of these other things plugged into it. So I do agree that you have to be horizontally ready and you can
Mm-hmm.
no longer say it's not my job. I think
Yes.
about my job.
Agree.
I build my own dashboards. The data team have implemented a set of tools. And if I want to see a metric and it's not already existing, I basically have to go as far as I can trying to build my own views before I say, okay, I actually don't think this is plugged in properly. I need help. So now the point at
Mm-hmm.
which I go ask data has moved way downstream.
Further down.
Or, our incredible small but mighty design team does a lot of things with like, they've built a lot of kind of like design tools, toolkits. So almost
Mm.
everything is got like
Systems.
this systems and like ready to go, plug and play. I try and stay out of the Figma because as the discipline that I came from, it's very easy for me to basically procrastinate in that space. And so I'm like, look, I
Mm.
don't need to do that. But they've made it easy for the engineers to build UI without asking for
Mm.
design to mock up the UI
Mm.
first. And so I look at how we operate as an incredibly lean team. There's one of our products that we have in my company right now where we have 5 engineers.
Mm-hmm.
And a competitor, we're probably half the size in terms of number of users and financial volume,
Mm-hmm.
has 180 people. As in,
Mm.
this one of many products that we build. A competitor only builds that one product. And in
Mm.
terms of the numbers that people can see, we have about half as much activity as they do.
Right.
And I think a huge amount of that is because there's just a bunch of assumptions we can't afford to make, and
Yeah.
everybody's horizontal. And so there's almost this world where like it could be product manager, it could be tech builder, it could be like we're gonna see these job titles
Start
where
to.
you can only really own the job title if you're operating in like the top 20% of what it needs to do
Mhm.
that thing. Everything else is a set of horizontals where you need to be able to dabble in all of these complementary areas in order to just keep pace with the rest of the people that you're working with. And that's the reality of the tools that we have available to us. And I think that's the reality of what the market is going to expect from high performing individuals.
So I was talking to a PM yesterday who was like more junior, looking to get more experience in product, and they were asking, what does it? How do you become more successful? What types of skills should I be focusing on? And in the moment, I was like, okay, let me come back to like, let me like really think about that because I didn't want to give like the typical whatever. But what I would say is that you are a strategist, so you understand business models, growth loops, customer pain. Like that is a space for you. You're designer adjacent. So you can evaluate UX, you can write copy, you can think in flows and systems. I would say you're engineering aware. So that is you like understand trade-offs. You can translate features into tickets and you can work in GitHub or like Postman or whatever. And the fourth one I would say is like you're a communicator. So you still own like stakeholder alignment and all that stuff. But as I thought about that, I was like, are we describing a new bar or are we describing a unicorn?
Ooh, why do you think it's a unicorn?
I think about where we are today and the skills that most people have. Like you and I talk to a lot of product folks and we're like, oh, they're
Yeah.
not quite there.
Yeah.
And they have like some ways to go. And I wonder if sometimes the expectation we have or that is set forward is like too high. And there's like cultural components that go like there's a lot that goes into that. And I do find myself checking myself because I'm like, okay, I know my standard and I know it can be a bit ridiculous sometimes. So then I'm like, okay, does this feel fair? or is this real?
So I think I'm a good person,
Hmm.
but I don't give a damn about fair in this context.
Okay. I like that. Uh-huh.
And I kind of led with I think I'm a good person because I think we are living through a realignment in like the macro landscape of what it means to be employed. You know,
Yeah.
this is kind of typists before computers made it so that you weren't allowed to offload your typing to another person. This
Mm-hmm.
is kind of, people who were shearing sheep before machines did it. Like,
Yep.
it is a very unfortunate outcome of a type of progress that certain roles and certain expectations that a role should exist have to come off the table. And I
Yep.
say that not because I think there's like this like technophilia, the world is going to be eaten and like that's
Sure.
better for everyone. I say that because it's actually just the reality of what we're in that if you are going to get hired in this economy,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be really flipping good. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
fair. It's not, you don't deserve a job just because you want one. You certainly don't deserve to be highly paid just because you want to be. You have got to
That's
earn it.
real. That's real. There is, I talked to a number of people randomly through LinkedIn or other places where they have this expectation
Right.
of a job. Like, oh yeah, I want to be a product manager and I want this much. Like, I'm like, hold on, but why? What are you doing? What do you
Yes.
have? They're like, okay, well, tell me what they're asking me to tell them. I'm like, no, what do you have?
Because also, even if you've got a company with a very big workforce, one of the things you might be looking at is how complex
Yeah.
the work that company does is, right? So again, I'm going to go back to like some of the things that we do. You know, there's a time when like the type of team that we've got deployed would just focus on a mobile app. We have for one product, we've got two mobile apps and a bunch of browser support implications and a massive partner dependency stacks with APIs and data feeds and a bunch of things running from across the board. So as a product person working on that
Mm.
product, you are holding the reins of so many interfaces in order to ship
Hmm.
that I'm not going to give it to somebody who's used to being in a
Yeah.
single lane.
Yeah.
They simply can't handle it. And unfortunately, I have a no passengers rule in my team as well. So it's like if you're not driving or you're not able to take a stint driving, you can't be in the car. And I think, I'm kind of conscious of the episode we did on Mountainhead and not sounding like those people.
Uh-huh.
But I
Uh-huh.
think there is a nuance here, which is we do have a higher bar. I think in order to do the job, to be performant at doing the job, you have to be ready to pick up tools. And I really
Yes.
like, I'm going to repeat the things that you said. I actually took notes here. It's like, you have to be a strategist. You have to be designer adjacent and user centered. Like, you can't expect someone else to do the customer research. You've got
Yep.
to be able to go talk to the customers. You've got to be able to
Yep.
understand how they're using your product. You've also got to be engineering aware. Like, you do need to know how the thing is made. And you've got to
Yep.
understand where the inputs are coming from and where the outputs go. And it's only then that you can say that you are doing your job well, because
Mm.
at any given point, the innovation opportunity comes from any one of those perspectives. The risk comes from any one of those perspectives. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody else around you is adapting to those tools. The people who continue to be highly employable have that dynamism. It is the expectation. What I have faith in, however, if again we look at history,
Mm-hmm.
is we always adapt.
Yes.
Humans always adapt. This is not a losing battle. This is not
Yeah.
a I've missed out. This is not I'm never going to be able to do it. For different people, the implications might be you might need a pay cut for the next 2 years, but then you might make even more money when you've reset yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you start your own business and you become the unicorn CEO.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like this is a zero sum scenario. Actually, we have, unlike the typist who needed to adapt in the
Mm-hmm.
70s, we actually have the tools we need to make the bar raising adjustment as well. Even though more is being asked of us, it is easier than ever to take that step on your own time. You do not need to go and get a degree to learn how to use Replit.
No.
You do not need
YouTube video.
a qualification from Google to be able to compare the relative differences between the different LLMs and think about which one's good. Why is it that people prefer Claude for code instead of, using ChatGPT? Why is it that, we've got all of these companies that are coming up with new models? What the hell is the hype around Gemini? Like, you do
Right.
not need training. You just
Nope.
need to be
It's in there.
interested. Yeah. And you know what? Do you know what I did the other day? I asked ChatGPT to tell me about Gemini. It tried to have an attitude, but it did find content.
Yeah. I mean, I use other LLMs to give me prompts for the other LLMs.
We are in an era where it's possible. And even if you say, oh, I can't afford to subscribe, you can afford $20 a month for one of those. That's a couple of coffees you don't have. Right.
Well, there are free components too.
And there are free components as well. So again, if you're saying you really want to be about this tech life, the bar is high, but the expectations of you are more horizontal than ever. And I think that also applies to engineers who just want to do this thing and not that thing, no longer relevant. In fact, I was speaking to somebody the other day who was hiring for data science. And they initially had this split where they were looking for data scientists and data engineers, right? So kind of like more the analyst role and more of like the builder role. And they very quickly pivoted and they were like, I am not hiring data engineers because the data engineers I've interviewed just want to do the building and they want someone else to analyze. Whereas the data scientists I have interviewed have said, you know what, if I feel like I need something that I can't find, I'll just jump in and I'll build it myself. I have the data engineering skills. He's like, yes, I've moved all of my headcount asks away from data engineering into data science. So all the people he interviewed have just lost themselves an entire role category because they've proven that they were too narrow in their thinking. And I loved that as a testament to exactly what we're talking about here. It's like horizontal people are now worth more unless you're in that top 20%, because we will always value the peak performers in any specialized discipline. And no AI tool is going to give you the ability to be inspired or have like an innate skill in something that's like graphic design is still going to be valuable. Like every single one of these AI tools has to be built by an engineer that's really good at building for AI and understanding the processing that AI tools need to do. So there's still room, but now you have to be the best to be in that group. And
if you're not, then you have to like really stand out in the skills you do have.
Yes, indeedy. So good luck to folks. I think it's an interesting time. Put it that way.
I mean, I'd be very curious to hear from folks if you're listening, if they're in a product role today that is shifting as they are in it and how they are growing into this hybrid role, or are they pushing back against it, which I would not encourage you to do so. But I'd be curious to hear how people are going along that journey.
100%. And chat to us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
Do you fundamentally disagree with our assertion that the bar is high, it's raised and rightly so, or, it's like something gone super wrong and we've become mini mountain heads? I don't know.
Oh, no, not mountain heads. No. Thanks, y'all.
Like and subscribe. We've made this show for you, and we want to hear your stories. We have our combined 35 years experience in tech. We have an incredible bank of experts to call on. We are your safe space. So send us your tech challenges and we'll help you create some draft decisions through some real talk.
You've been listening to me, Mamuna and Lola.
And me, Layo Pearson.
Edited and produced by me, Michael Blissa, with theme music by 031 Mash.
Email us at help@lostintechpodcast.com or DM us at lostintechpod.